welcome, 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 welcome. And here we go, like. We'll bring it on in. Bare essentials. Sticky fingers. Back in. And we did it again. We're getting over the hump. Over the hump. You say and break it on down. Getting over the hump. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm Brother L, and today we're gonna make some beats together, right? Yes. Hands is sticky because we're using these touch faces. Today, we're gonna go over a myriad of things, but you know, normally what I do when I open up the show, I do a little bit of a perform piece that I just kind of like to get into the mood of working together. All right? I want to make sure y'all in there with me. Cool, cool. We got some people online. Thank you for joining. And today's lesson will be about sonic palettes. What's that mean? Well, to me, today, the way I want you to think about it is a sonic palette is thinking of your music in terms of the space it occupies. What do I mean by that? Well, well, just imagine you think of a pie, right? Everything within that pie is your sonic palette. right? So the ingredients, the seasonings, the method in which, you know, let's just say if it's a fruit pie, the method in which it, you know, was made. Like for instance, if you were making an apple pie, you have to, you know, potentially you might bake apples before. You might like make a roux of some sort and sugar and some type of butter with the apples, and then you put that inside a dough, right? And then you like cover it up with some more dough. All right. Just what I'm trying to get at is that your sonic palette is basically your toolkit, your toolbox for sound, but it's also the inherent nature of what is in these sounds that we use, right? So when you think about it, we're talking about, well, bass sounds have a low frequency, you know, maybe let's just say lead sounds or high sounds, like maybe a flute have higher frequencies. And in that frequency spectrum, right, you know, we can kind of hone in and do different things. Well, let's do that. I'm going to duplicate this track here because I enjoy it. Just made it. And this will be our working track here. So for instance, let's go into the sonic palette of what this could be. So we're going to go into our key section right here. Let's just solo it. Right. One good way to think about sonic palette is frequency, right? So let's look at what frequency ranges this particular faded key sound has. So we can go into plugins. Let's go to virtual EQ, right? It's not on, but let's make the analyzer. This is so cool. It actually analyzes the frequency content of that sound. If you ever wondered, like, well, is there any 200 hertz in my sound? Well, now you know how to do it. I'll do that one more time because it may not be obvious. So to get to the plugins, the inherent plugins, the native plugins that are in GarageBand, you know, you bring up your mixer, plugins, you turn it on. Boom, the analyzer's on. I can actually EQ and change frequency content. You heard that bass come up? Bass go down. Now, typically when someone's talking about bass, they're talking about everything like maybe, you know, 250 kilohertz on back. 250 hertz, I'm sorry, on back to like 20 hertz, right? And then everything from like 250 to, let's just say, 2000 is kind of mid-range. And everything from 2000 on up is high, right? So they've kind of broken it down for us here in a simplified format, right? They put 1, 2 points of control. Changes the sound drastically. At first it was sounding muted, right? It almost sounded like you didn't hear it at all. What we're doing now is a very sophisticated process called EQing. And let me tell you, this is just as important as what you compose. The frequency content of the sound that you're working with. It's all your sonic palette. It's your toolkit. It's your toolbox. You're pulling it out and you're building a structure. You know, do you want a grand driveway into your home? What do you want? It's all about what you desire to create a certain feeling. That's really what it is. So let's listen. Does that sound cool within the environment that I have provided? So let's just mute out everything. And let's see here. I'll just have the drums in. The drums and the keys. Let's see what that sounds like. See, I'm just moving the EQ around so you can see what's going on. Right? Bring it back to our arrangement. Let's bring in another sound. Right. We can look at that sound too. Let's solo that sound and look at it. Right here is the analyzer in the corner, and you can analyze the sound. And it's telling you the frequency content of that particular sound. Now, what we're doing is actually very complex, but GarageBand has made it really simple for us to visualize what frequency content is inside the sound. You know, I give you another way to think about it. When you listen to music and someone says, you know what, that sounds muddy. What does that mean? It sounds muddy. That means that you have frequencies within something you're listening to that's competing in some ways, where like you want to hear something but it doesn't sound clear. Well, using this analyzer, this EQ, you can actually see it. So typically if something is muddy, it's probably like competing at the bass. You saw that little bass coming in there around like, 50 hertz on the back. Let's pull it down a little more. It really didn't change the sound so much, but it just gave us some extra room for our bass to pump on out. Now let's see what happens when I unsolo the bass. Let's put the bass in there. Breaking bass. It'll come around because I hit it on the 1. Let's check it out. Right? But it has to be in combination, right? Because it doesn't sound like this in isolation unless we put our drums. Let's put our drums in. Right? Put our keys back in. I think another good experiment is to look at this analyzer with drums. Well, let's look at it with the drums. What's happening with the drums? Because drums, you got multiple sounds. You got a bass drum, you got a snare, you got a hi-hat. What would that look like? Can you all imagine if you were to draw it on out, what frequencies are represented with this drum kit, or I should say this drum sequence? Let's look. All across the board. Right? So that's the bass drum. As you can see, when the bass drum hits, you'll see it peak up there. Right? You hear that cymbal? Watch it peak at that. Right? Gonna come back around in a second. You saw it peak up? So while you can control volume of your instruments that are in your track, you can also control the EQ and how it is positioned within our sonic palette, right? Because we're making this thing. That's like the easy way to think about it. And I really think that it should always be easy because this is mathematical. Frequencies. 20 means 20 cycles, right? 20K, 20,000, 20 cycles, 20,000 cycles, right? So let's go. Let's bring it. Okay, now we got that pretty clear. That's one part of the sonic palette, the frequency of your instruments. Another part of your sonic palette is what space does these things occupy? Okay, what does that mean? Well, what that means is that if we go over to, let's go over to this one, the Black Diamond synth. Okay. That's when we were talking about our reverb. So if I turn it up or turn it down, you should be able to hear the difference. Okay. It's down. Turn it over. You kind of hear it fading as it turns it on. Okay, let's see how it sounds without. Okay, so there's definitely reverb in the sound or delay. So let's look into it, okay? Because some of these sounds have been designed to have effects on them. This glide lead appears to already have that. So let's pick another sound that is potentially dry. Let's see here. Those are the same. Well, just add something. How about that? Let's just add a good old piano. You hear that? Okay. There's reverb already on it. Without reverb, that's just the sound resonating. Reverb is a simulation of a room that the environment which the sound was created in, or how you want the sound to be envisioned created in, per se. Because this sound is being created right now in this iPad, so there is no room. And there's a room that I'm in, but this is not a live piano, so it's been recorded already. And I also have it on an ambient. I have it on a very modest reverb. So let me put it on a large hall and give you a super difference. Because it may not have been so noticeable, right? Okay, so tell me something. Why would one want to utilize reverb within a track? In your opinion, why would you want to make a sound like it's in a particular environment? What's the advantages of that? Anybody got it? Let me just check the chat and see really quick. Yes. Okay. We got some people out there. What's happening, people? I want y'all to get involved now. Let me know what's going on with you. What are some of the reasons one would want to use reverb? Okay. Well, so I could tell you one of the reasons I use reverb. Reverb is a sound design tool. Remember, I go back to this whole sonic palette, we're making a pie, right? It's the seasoning. It's not the actual instrument and it's not how you play your instrument. All of these things matter, how you play your instrument, the space it occupies, and frequency that the instrument occupies, and movement, how it moves. Movement is rhythm. pretty simple. Chord on every beat, a note on every beat. Chord on every beat. Reverb. It almost signifies that we need to play it slower because it's so much reverb, because it's this dramatic space, it's this huge hall. So with most reverbs, you can control the time, the time in which you know, the sound decays, right? So in GarageBand, you're not actually able to do that, but you can appropriate it with a few different things. So they give you ambience, that's kind of a shorter reverb. Let's listen. Cathedral, church, right? Big old, you know, church that has this huge dome, right? And we've all been in some situations like that, and we just like yelled out or yang just to kind of like test, hello, hello, hello. That would be a delay, an echo, right? But really short repetitions are kind of what reverb is. And not kind of, actually what it is. Large hall again. Medium hall. Shorter decay. Moon dome. I guess we're going into the moon. Let's hear it. Yeah, that's a really long delay with a lot of feedback on it. Feedback is just how things are reintroduced into the signal, right? So if you have your decay at a certain point, and then you want that to be reintroduced, that is that. So GarageBand has simplified this for us. We don't have a whole bunch of controls with it, but with all of these, it's pretty versatile. Okay, let me take it off. I like ambience because I like a little bit of reverb, not a whole bunch, but just enough to give us, a little flavor. All right. Now, the other thing is movement. Like, all right? What does that mean by that? Movement. Let's go to these drums. Where I play, what I play. Right? That's the movement, the rhythm. Another term, movement, rhythm. How do you want things to move, right? So let's solo this. Let's unsolo everything else. Make sure everything, okay, so everything else is soloed. Unsoloed. And I can show you, I can actually show you this. Let's go into the just song section A. Now let's go into the edit portion and let's look at this material here in our sequencer. Okay, so that's the hi-hat, right? It's open, bass drum, right? These things can move however you want, and the movement changes the whole vibe. For instance, let's duplicate this, mute it, and make a whole new rhythm with those keys that we have. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, and But I want to do it again. I got an idea. Okay. And then let's go back into the sequence itself. What I did enjoy is that, let's see, we're going to split. Delete that. Copy. So what I did enjoy, I'm going to just copy it. Now we got it. Let's do that. Ah! And here we go. Change the whole vibe, right? Makes the bass now feel like a little strange, almost. So let's take it out and bring this back. Anyways, you get the idea? So the idea is that we can change the feel of a track by changing the rhythm in which things happen. How we place our instruments, right? Okay, so we talked about the spatial. We talked about frequency. We talked about color. We talked about movement, right? And these things together become our track, but they're also tools to think about, hey, I'm designing sounds. I'm designing sounds in the way that I want them to be utilized within my piece, my GarageBand song, my track, right? Now, think about it. If you change the EQ, that's not the same before. If you play it a little different, you could also change how it is perceived, right? The EQ changes the color, right? But you could also change the color of how you're playing. You know, are you giving a softer attack? Are you giving it longer attack? Are you playing your notes staccato? Or are you playing them legato? You know, short or long, right? So in this particular thing, I just got these. But I like that. I think what I want to do to add on that is to add a little bit of, I don't know, what should I add, gang? What you thinking? Let me see what they thinking out here. In TV land. Space, okay. Jonathan says space. Expansiveness in your song. Another way of thinking about reverb. Space. Expansiveness in your song. That's wonderful. Yeah, I enjoy that. Got it. Another thing is, let me tell you, since I've started working with GarageBand in this entire series, I'm really starting to understand that GarageBand is like having logic in your pocket. It really is. It's super sophisticated but simple at the same time. A young person could, without much skill, could get in here and make something, and then someone with, a refined talent could come in here and make something. It's It's a pretty serious creation tool. And it's in your pocket. And it's scalable. When I say it's scalable, is that you can load these things up in Logic later after you export them. And you can continue to work and tool these things. Or you can finish out your track here. But right now I think I want to add a little bit of percussion and see how this changes the dynamic of this song or even the rhythm. So let's find our percussion, right? Songwriter percussion. Let's see what this guy sounded like. Loving that bell. Let's see how it sounds good. Bring that bass back one time. That's cool. That open hi-hat is a bit much for at this moment. Oops, I didn't want to split. Edit. Let's pull it out. So if I want to delete it, we just go in and delete. Oh, there we go. So, just learned something. I was wondering, did I have to go in here and tap everything? Just learned it together. So what you do is, whatever you want out, click and hold. And you see it's highlighted? Okay. Now I can click. Yeah, when I click it, there we go, double click, delete. Boom. Let's see. We got the percussion in there. And back again. Drop a filter on down and then bring it up. You can record these effects if you wanted to. Turn them on down, this back down. But now you know what this could benefit from if the bass was moving a little more, right? Because the bass are just these legato notes. What if it was going? Now I just thought of that, but we're all talking about movement and your sonic palette and the space that things occupy, right? We're changing. There's no one way to do this thing here. I duplicate. that's another way to just easily get the same instrument and all your settings are the same. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mute that one, and then I'm going to work on another one. So let's just try what this bass sounds like. Let's 2 and 3 and 4 go. Quantization on it. Swing a little lightly. Not bad. But the performance could be better. Let's try one more time. 2 and 3 and 4 go. And you get over the hump. Ooh, today is Wednesday, and we're getting over the hump with these cold beats. Beats evolve right before your face, right? As if you didn't already know, because most people who know Brother L, I'm big into improvisation. So, just as a disclaimer, everything that I've done thus far, I've worked out within like the time that we're having this class here. Yeah, all of these tracks that we've been developing, I've just been freestyling with you all. Some of the concept comes from just, you know, our situations collectively. Some of it comes from how I want to engage with my instruments, how I want to utilize the sonic palette and sprinkle a little of this, or sprinkle a little of that, messing with rhythms. You know, I'm inspired by a lot of different things, you know. That's a good question. What inspires you to create? And how do you stay inspired? Or if you're not inspired, how do you inspire yourself? We're creating, right? And this is all about wellness too. Inspiring oneself is just as important, because essentially that's what art does. It's a healing tool. We use it for inspiration. Well, not everyone does, but the folks like, you know, you and I, that's what we're doing. Let's get back into it. Okay, what else should we add, gang? Or what should we take away? Or how should we proceed with this track? I need some ideas. While you are thinking, I would like you all to take a moment and add the Brother L social media. Yes, please. Just, you know, if you haven't, or share this class, you know, with another person. Add them on to our chat or add them on to the video. Someone who you think that this could be interesting for. Remember, this is all ages. This is all skill levels. I got some pros who check in with me, and I got some people who've never really touched an instrument who are checking in with me. So don't feel like, you know, you might know too much or know too little. I really want you to engage with me. So 2 seconds while I check the chat, and we'll move forward. again. Really love this bass. I'm really designing this whole class around sound design in some ways. An easy way to approach it. So, there are controls within all of our instruments here that we utilize, right? Going back, controls. So, these controls are part of the tools that we use to create the instruments, and how we mix them in, how we play them, matters, right? As far as our arrangement and how we edit and get the structures that we need, right? So let's go back into it and figure out a bit of sound design. That bass is growling. Can we make it growl more? If you don't have headphones, you might not be able to hear this. Or if you got a nice system that you got your GarageBand plugged up to, that's cool too. Does everybody know what cutoff and resonance means? Well, pretty simple. Cutoff is, we're going to cut off frequency content. Remember I was showing you on the graph, cutoff. We cut off frequency content. I can actually show you on the graph what it may sound like. Let's do it. Let's bring it back. So let's go to our settings, not settings, but our mixer. Let's go to plugins. Let's go to visual EQ. It's such a great tool. So put the analyzer on. Now notice, this bass resides all on the low end. Right where Brother L is. Brother L lives on the low end, right? He resides there. I stay in the deep. Stay real deep. So like, cutoff means that maybe part of that sound exists above 500 hertz, right? So the cutoff, I wish I could, they don't allow you to kind of like pull the screen down, but I want it to go down, cutoff. So now we're cutting off even more of the frequency. So let's go look at it now. We're gonna bring it back, go back to our plugins and EQs, and let's look at our visual EQ. I want you to pay attention, right? We've cut it off to almost like 2K. 200 hertz, not 2K. 2K would be 2,000 kilohertz. All right. So let's go back. Pull this in. Now let's look at the sound. Let's see what. You see how it's growing? It's growing in frequency content. That could benefit this track or could not. One way to find out, how will we find out? Unsolo it. Unsolo it. Sounds good when it's the only tonal instrument in, really, but together it sounds like it's a bit too much. All right, so that's the cutoff. Cutoff is basically carving off frequencies, cutting off frequencies above a certain frequency. This one here doesn't give you a clear understanding of where that cutoff goes, but I'm imagining that the cutoff is somewhere around 250 hertz. Okay, resonance is, okay, what was cut off? Yes, that's what was cut off can be reintroduced, and that is the resonance. So sometimes when you cut off something, you want to reintroduce it, and it gives it a new texture. So let's listen to it solo. So you don't hear much with this resonance because, so some of this is about sound design and how this sound was. This particular sound didn't have much high frequency content. So if things are being cut off at a low point and nothing existed in the beginning, you know, when we reintroduce resonance, you're not going to get very much, right? Because there was nothing there to begin with, okay? And it's all about the space we occupy. This is another tool that we have to change up the sound. We got break up. That sounds like it's doing a little bit of modulation. Okay, Y meaning that it's detuning. It's detuning the oscillators just a bit to widen the signal. That could be interesting in our track. Let's listen. Almost makes it too big, right? Now the breakup drone. Ooh, interesting. A lot of reverb, as you see, right? The sub. We just wanted to sit there real low. It's that bottom. If you don't have a good bottom, you don't have a good foundation. And you gotta have a good bottom when this is music. You understand? Okay. Motors. Ooh, that's got a nice little growl to it. I've been looking for a growl like that for this sound. I like it. Let's listen to LFO. LFO is low frequency oscillator. LFO, low frequency oscillator. And what that is that the low frequency content is cut off, reintroduced, and how it oscillates over time. So it's about the cycles of the particular frequency. So you hear it. So it's almost like if the sound was, I'm going to do it with my mouth, right? So if I had to cut off and I was automating it and I wanted to make it go like it was, cut, this is what's happening. Wait, I'm bringing it. You get it? It's an automation to give you a particular sound. All right. Now let's move forward. What's this bass drum? I think we. Wow, that's cool. I'm vibing with motor the most. Motor and growl. Okay, let's bring our track back in. Let's see what do we bring in. Right. So today I've been giving you tools to work your sonic palette, right? You can experiment with a lot of different things within these drums. Not only the sounds themselves, how you play them, right? Oh, something else. Did you see what's going on here? We got dry. Yeah, give you a little distorted sound. Basically, is driving the signal, you know, introducing it, giving it more drive. Crush, bit reduction. For certain applications, that could be really cool. It just depends on what you're writing. Low cut, cutting off all the lows. Now, you just have high. It did nothing to this sound because this sound resides in the high frequency spectrum. Right? High cut, not as bright anymore. This might be interesting, right? So remember I was saying that hi-hat was a little bright for me, right, on the other one. Let's go back and change that. Let's get the right drum set first. And let's go into the original and double click it. Bring it back. Let's play it. It's low cut. Cut off all the bottom. We do not want to do that. Ooh, how that sound now? Yeah. That sounded like, ooh, that sounded grungy, like some hip hop. Yeah, I'm liking that. Let's bring our other joints back. Yeah, okay. Let's bring our faded key in. Bass. Let's try the other bass. That other bass sounds better with this drum. So these are all arrangement parts, right? So we can go in and structure this. We could cut this out and then paste that, you know, and we can have wholly different sections. This is about ideas to move your tracks forward. Right. Another thing that one can do that I really love doing, I love using the sampler on here. How will we do that? And how will we make it relevant to this track? Let's go to the sampler. Sampler, it's in the keyboard section. 1, 2, 3, sampler. Okay, I need to unplug this so we can use the microphone within GarageBand within the iPad. As you can see, I'm getting a level now. So when you hear that dun 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 dun, yeah, I don't know what we want to say. I want to put in like a sample stab up in there. Yeah, yay. Let's see. What y'all got? What should I put in there? Come on now. Okay, let me add. What should? Okay. How about? Yeah, yay, yeah, yeah. Dun, 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 dun. I'm trying to like imagine in my head if I was to introduce voice and have it as a sample stab. What would it do? Bum, bum, dun, dun, bum, bum, bum. Yeah. Okay, let's try it. Yeah. Okay. Let's bring it back. Plugging and unplugging, unplugging, unplugging. It's thinking, it's thinking, it's thinking, it's thinking. It's gonna blink a few times and then it'll be on. So blink, blink, and when it stops blinking, it's on. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. 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 You see that? Yeah. Yeah. No problem for us. We can actually truncate our sample. This is like a super easy, cool sampler because it actually has a threshold of when you hit record, it won't record anything until you speak or whatever sound that you want to it to record, which is totally cool. And the internal microphone in this iPad is really not bad, considering, like, you know, hip hop. If you think about like how we love the lo-fi essence, but see, it wasn't always like that. I could even talk about a whole class about like how, like, when we were making early hip hop, we always wanted the sonic palette to be as high fidelity as possible. It's just that the tools that we had available were very limited. Thus, we worked with what we had and we made tracks, we made songs, and then those songs, you know, have a certain place in history, and that sound is what we had at that moment. And now people want to go back to the lo-fi sound, but the lo-fi sound was something that we was actually trying to escape. Just something for your thoughts. Anyway, I like lo-fi sound, by the way, so I'm not hating on it by any means. I love it. I grew up in it, you know, but it's just interesting how like things are perceived over time, and how things become part of the culture, and what part of the culture gets promoted, what people of the culture get promoted. Oh, let me not go there.
Yeah.
I got both drums going on. I gotta take them out. Okay, this is a good time to make this arrangement. Let's get this arrangement together, Brother L. So let's see what we're working with, all sections. Bring it back. And then we'll put in that sample. So we got this drum, we got this going on. I want to duplicate. Okay, so I want that to happen twice, and then I want this to happen. So the easiest way to do that would be to go in and say, I want A to duplicate. Let's duplicate A once, and let's duplicate B once, okay? And then we'll throw all these things around, but let's, where we go? Didn't do what we wanted. Okay, so we want A to duplicate, and then we want B to duplicate. Okay, there it goes. All right, so I want to take my second version. I'm gonna cut this out. This is like a quick, fast, in a hurry arrangement, because we like to move smooth criminal style. All right, we got that going on. You can take that off. Let's delete that. This is a cowbell. I'm gonna take this cowbell out right here. Delete. Faded keys. We like faded keys. Let's do it. Let's take this out. Edit. Oops. Sorry. Bring it back. We want to take the first one out. Or do we? Yes, we want to take the first one out so it can actually evolve to something. Then, so we got this section. Now we got a bass line for that section. That's this bass line, right? And this bass line is going to go to the second section. So let's delete this one. Delete. And that's that. And what's that? That's fin. Okay, let's take out down. Delete. That's the percussion. And now, unmute. Let's just give it a quick play and see if it does what we want. Something happened weird here, but I can't. Okay, let's copy this. Copy. Something happened, but I don't exactly know what that was. But now we got a cool arrangement to throw in our samples. Let's make some samples. Well, we made the sample. Yeah, that's cool. Put a little compression on it. We got effects too for the sample. We definitely have reverb. Remember, reverb is the space that it happens. Right? Okay. That's cool, but we can also do something else. Let's go a little further with this. Okay. Further means let's add something here. What can we add? So we have options: bit crusher, chorus, distortion, flanger, microphaser, overdrive, track echo, track reverb, tremolo, vocal transformer. Okay. Let me give you a quick rundown of what these are. Bit crushers, that reduces the bit depth. Chorus adds, duplicates the signal and plays with the pitch, so it makes it larger as it simulates a chorus of people singing in the idea. So it would introduce multiple parts at various frequencies to simulate, more than one. Distortion, that's basically it, to distort the signal. Okay. Flanger, or flanger, some people say, that is reintroducing the signal very fast on top of it. That's an old school effect. Well, what they used to do that is that, so it gives it this kind of like wiry feel. They did this by playing two tape decks together and then just adjusting the play speed of one so that one came in slightly off. And then that gives you this. That's flanger. That could be interesting. Microphaser, similar process, but faster repeats. Overdrive, and so that's, you take a signal and you put it back in and it becomes a little bit more distorted, and so the drive, I should find a better way to explain that. I will next time. But basically it's another way to distort a sound. And that distortion becomes pleasant based on the material. It adds other harmonic content. Okay, all right. Echo, that's delay, right? More repeats. Hello, hello, hello. Track reverb. Okay, you already know what reverb is. Simulation of a room. Tremolo, it's like, that could be interesting. Vocal transformer. I think that is like the auto-tune situation. Let's see here. So if I wanted to tune what I was doing and I felt like I was out of key, which I probably am, and because okay, now let's add another one. That's cool. I enjoyed that. See, I used it not like auto-tune though. I just used it as an effect. Okay, so let's go into maybe tremolo. Let's see what that's. Let's see if you get this song kind of, well, the sound has to sustain long enough to really hit the tremolo, but let's look at it. You hear it? You hear it? It makes a lot more impact when it's a sound that has a long sustained note to it, right? A little bit in there. Okay, let's add another effect to my voice. Let's add chorus. Duh. Yeah. Let's turn it all the way up so we can hear what it's doing. Yeah. That's always a good method. If you want to know what the effect is doing and you don't really have a good idea, turn it all the way up and turn it off. Turn it all the way up and just keep auditioning both ways. Sound like multiple brother L's. Well, you know that. I'm privy to that. I'm down with that. All right. Multiple brother L's. That's all good. I mean, you know, I've been trying to duplicate myself for a minute. That's it right there. I got to go back to that. We already know what's going on. Wait. What key? Yeah. I think that was that key. Okay. See, yeah, that was cold. I didn't hit it right. Let's go back in here. So let's go to, and then I'll just record on there because waiting for it to come in. There's something that when I hit it, I gotta hit it a certain way. See, when I hit it, it didn't come in. Let's try it again. All right, there you go. So I hit it, but that's okay. That's why we got edit. See, you see the notes are in there, but something happened that it didn't allow it to exist where I needed it. Yeah. Let's go to velocity. Turn it all the way up. That's up. Yeah. Okay, what about this one? Yeah. Velocity. Oh, very low, you see? Yeah. Can't tell you why I did that, but also let's go in and quantize this. We want this straight on the 16th note. And we're going to turn it up. Get to our, we can do it with a little compression too. Really quick, just because we're all nerds in the game in this, I want to go in and show you what this sounds like with our visual EQ. What does a voice sound like? Yeah. Look at the frequencies of the voice. Yeah. You see that? Yeah. You see that really low rumble? Yeah. The principle of the frequency, the main frequency is like what, like from 100 to what? Like 2K, 5K, right? Yeah. We can. Yeah. We don't need that. Yeah. Let's let it sit right there. All right, let's listen to it. put it in there just to be cool. All right, now let's get back to our arrangement, and we're gonna go out with this cool new arrangement. Now it's just doing like 2 different sections only, but now we could tweak it all how we want to based on that, right? So let's click out of here, go to the arrangement, boom, can't get that, boom, can't get that. I wanna duplicate that, copy, move our cursor to where we want it to copy, paste, and let's vibe out. Getting over the hump. Go. Switch up. Cut it in. Switch it. I'm loving it. Come on now. Getting over the hump Wednesday. That's what's up, y'all. So collectively together we controlled instruments, we created a new piece, we arranged, edited, arranged. You know, I keep tooling the arrangements, right? Keep tooling it because there's so many different ways it can go. We learned new things about our instruments, and we did a bit of mixing, right? And I told you that this is all about the sonic palette. Thinking of your music in terms of the space it occupies, spatially, frequency, the color, movement, relative to the sound, you know, because we're designing and we're mixing, and all together it's about the feeling of what you do. So until Friday, stay creating, and I want you all to record some things, sequence some things, and I want you to export them and upload them to some cloud service and place those links in the chat. I need to hear what you're doing.